Well, this month of March, this is our last service. In the month of March, we've been talking about laws and how to approach them perhaps in a little bit of a different way. Have you been doing well as you take this information into your world? Creating vacuums, using law of attraction, learning and growing. We need to remember that's our job on this planet. So today we're talking about prosperity. Unlike what you probably learned as a child, prosperity really isn't about what you own. It's about how you flow. Are you guys getting that in metaphysics? It's about how you flow. When I was young, I was taught, you really need to be careful. There are no free lunches. Everything has its price. Every gift has strings attached. You need to look for what is being asked of you because there's a deal with everything. So as a young person in the world, I was always going, what are you going to want from me if I accept this? No, thank you. You know, there was always this thing that receiving was conditional. And as a result, until I really went into metaphysics, I was a very timid receiver in many ways. I lived by the sweat of my brow. I don't know if any of y'all have been the workaholic, but I worked very, very hard because I was going to earn every single thing that came to me so that it came unconditionally. I earned it. And I got into this idea of needing to prove my worth. So didn't employers love me? Oh, they loved me. I could just work like a little Trojan. When I got into metaphysics, one of the first things that I learned, I'm going to move this over a little bit. One of the first things I learned, which was absolutely phenomenal, God is source. Really? Now we hear that all the time, right? God is source. But for my little mind, God is source. You mean my job's not source? No. You mean the people in my world are not source? No. God is source and the people are channels. Ah, I love that. God is source and my job is a channel to bring good to me. The people are channels to bring good to me. And I began to really breathe that in and really begin to explore what that meant in the flow of energy. Now I am free to receive and I'm free to give. Source and channels. Puts it in a different perspective, doesn't it? And are you all playing with that already? Are you playing with that in your consciousness? Okay, great. So, in the law of giving, receiving, it says, that which you give with attitude, intention, and energy frequency will return to you in like manner. That which you give returns to you in like measure and in like kind. Breathe that in. Like measure and like kind. So, our prosperity is determined by two things. It's determined by how we receive, and it's also determined by how we give. Because if you believe that's a true and good definition, as I give, it will return to me in like measure and like kind. That's my ability to receive. Okay? We're going to look at receiving first. I want you to think with me for a moment about when Jesus walked on the planet. Did Jesus ever go up to anyone and say, you have not yet earned your healing? Did he ever say, yeah, you need to go back and study for a while before I can share with you my wisdom, my love, the healing? What did he always say? Would you be healed? Will you receive? That's all he said. Will you receive what I have to give? It's not about earning, it's about receiving. So when we look at our own ability to receive, I want you to think about how you receive. Do you struggle to receive? If you struggle to receive, you're probably meting out very carefully everything that you give. You may be making people earn what you give to them. Do you understand? If you're struggling to receiving, that struggle energy is going to be in how you give too. Not a comfortable thought, is it? All right. Do you never receive? How often do you give? Again, not a comfortable thought. We are actually, each one of us, this beautiful compilation of thoughts, beliefs, and energy. And exactly where you are today, with the amount of depth, the amount of goodness, the amount of flow, is exactly a mirror of what you're holding within you. You're withholding nothing from you. This is what you believe. You can take a snapshot of where you are, where you live, how you trust, how you function. That is what you're believing within you about giving and receiving. About prosperity. Not a very comfortable thought for some. Eh? In order to grow, we have to shift within. We have to shift something so the energy can shift within and without. They said, when I was speaking with Spirit, I got self-judgment is probably the most dominant energy that keeps our good away. Judgment of self. Do you know what you do when you judge yourself on any level? You take this brilliant light of who you are, this spark of divinity that's within you, and you contract it and you make it small. And now you've judged yourself as being unkind, whatever judgment you have about yourself. And that unbox, it's now an unbox that you've squished your spirit in. Now you're little. Now how much can you receive? Little. How much do you give? Little. You walk around saying, you don't want my stuff, I'm bad. You know, we're in these judgments of self. It stops the flow. Everybody take a breath. Some of us get so caught into the not receiving that we actually create drama in matter to force ourselves to receive. Got confused looks? Some of us will actually create tremendous losses in order to force ourselves to receive. Some of us will live in the lack of receptivity, lack consciousness to the point that everything dissolves around us, and we've got to take a breath in order to survive. We are all on this beautiful path of evolution, and our spirits are trying to teach us. How do you want to learn? Do we want the dramatic prosperity surprise of challenge? Do we want the dramatic prosperity surprise of good? It's all determined by our flow. We have self-judgment and lack consciousness. If you believe there's not enough, your ability to receive will shut down. Take a breath. Is any of this hitting home with anybody? Am I talking to anybody else? All right. The way to open your ability to receive, open your ability to give. Our ability to prosper is in direct relationship to our ability to give. Our ability to receive is in direct relationship to our ability to give. Take a breath. All right, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about giving. Most of us are taught, especially if you came through my generation, that you give only to need. Giving to need is a very interesting situation because most of us give to need so we can feel good about ourselves because now we have become the source. I am now your source. I am no longer channel. I have rallied on my white horse and I have saved your day. And then I don't care what you do the next time because you're somebody else's problem. But I gave to you to make myself feel good. Giving to need is very, very interesting. You have to be very, very careful about your intentions. When we give to someone because we are trying to help them and we become their source, we become their bailout. If we become their bailout, what are we setting up to receive for ourselves? a bailout, which means we are setting up financial challenges for self. So someone else can be our source. Okay, as you give, so it will come back to you. If you're giving so you can be source, someone else will give to you so they can be source. Do you want to play that? It's your choice. But it keeps you in human involvement, doesn't it? What I learned to do was, as I give, to give as an investment as opposed to need. Give as an investment. When I give, I am investing energy into that person, place, or thing. And they may have a need. They may literally say, I have a need. And I will go within and say, okay, A, is it mine to do? But how do I feel about what is being asked of me? Do I resonate with it? Can I give to the investment of it? Do I want to affiliate with it? Do you see the difference? Instead of need. Many years ago, I supported, with my humble annual donation, a organization that was eco-friendly. They were scientists. They were trying to keep the government on track with what's true about all these things, global warming and new cars and new technology. Loved them, supported them for years. Once a year I got a little newsletter, let me know, they thanked me, and it was a good relationship. And then the ownership changed, and I started getting letters saying, the government is bad, and we need to stop them now, and we need your money to do that. I went, really? No, I don't want to invest my money in waging a war. I wanted to invest my money in supporting your technology and your research. And so I got several of them demanding the world will end as we know it if I don't give them money. So I wrote on one of their little letters, and I said, I really liked investing in the work you do, not in the dramas you're creating now. And I sent it to them. And they, of course, didn't respond. But they kept sending me letters. And then they finally called and said, why aren't you donating? And I told them exactly why. And they said, oh, that's interesting. Okay, great. Hung up. And I continued to get letters. But the focus of the organization is continually on warring. We're creating wars with our government. We're not doing win-win anymore. And whether the organization is doing it or not, their focus to me is. Do you see the difference? Yes. There's another thing about investing energy that we do as American stewards. We look at the product and we say, is it worth that or not? Am I going to get my money back out of that? Think about it when the little Girl Scout comes to sell you cookies. And they're X number of dollars a box. And you're thinking, I can get a big old crate at Walmart. Why am I buying those cookies? And Patrick and I have discussion a lot. Because I can't eat the cookies, but I will buy a box for every one of the children, of our children. I'll buy Patrick a couple of boxes for the little girl. Because I look at that little face. And I say, I want to invest in her. I don't care what the cookies cost. I'm going to write her a nice check. She's going to bring me some cookies. I'm going to distribute them out to anyone who wants them. And I feel so good about investing in those little sparkling eyes. And the same with the kids at high school. The first high school child that knocks on my door annually gets the $20. We never use the coupons. But I want to invest in their energy. You see? Flow. When we learn to give, not to need, not to war, or if you enjoy war, please give to war. I'm not trying to put my ideas on you. I'm saying be aware of the energy you're investing in, because everywhere you give, you are investing in that energy. And what is the law of giving? It will return to you in like kind. If you enjoy drama, and some of us need it, we feed on drama. Do it and let it come back to you that way. That's good. That's your lesson. That's what makes you happy. But be aware and awake. As you give, so you shall receive. So learning to invest rather than give to need is so important. Just understanding God as my source. I love being that beautiful channel. I love being that channel. I love when Spirit says, need you to give now. Need you to give. When I was first in this, and David was an infant, he might have been probably 3. Spirit was trying to teach me about the flow. I had a dream, and we were living, he and I, by ourselves, so money was so tight. And we, were on such a budget. And I was tithing, but we were on our budget. And I had a dream, it was a very strange dream, about a man coming to me and needing food. And in the dream, all I had were 5 hot dogs. And I gave him these hot dogs. Well, I don't eat hot dogs. I gave him these hot dogs in the dream, and I thought, that is the craziest thing in the world. And because it was so real and so immense to me, so major. Later that week, my sister had come over with her children to play with David, and we had hot dogs. And so everybody had hot dogs, and there were 5 hot dogs left over. And my ex-husband, who was also so tight, we were all so tight at that time financially, came over to drop something off or visit David or something, and I said, here, would you take these hot dogs? Because they mean nothing to us. David's already had enough meat for the week. And he said, yes, I'd love to take those hot dogs. So I gave him the hot dogs and the buns and everything that was left over from the little gathering. And he left, and I thought to myself, I wonder if Mike is the guy in the dream, I don't think so. It didn't feel like it. So he called me later that evening, and he said, I had to stop and get gas money at the ATM on the way home. And while I was standing at the ATM, a man came to me who couldn't feed his family. He said the car was right there, and the kids were in the car, and they had no food. He said, I had no money to give them, but I gave them the hot dogs. I hope you don't mind. And I went, oh my God, that's my dream. And what it showed me was, you never know how far-reaching any gift that you're guided to give will go. You can't control it. It will, and I didn't meet the man. I didn't see the man with his family. But Spirit was showing me, as you follow your guidance, everything flows out and it goes where I need it to go, to fill the pockets that need to be filled. I might have thrown those hot dogs out. That's something I probably would have done had Mike not come. We are all channels of goodness if we allow ourselves to be.